All right. So it becomes increasingly difficult when individuals just come and start telling you their problems, right? You don't know how to help. You don't know how to actually give the actual solution that they need, because many times we're in a position where we don't always know exactly how to fit everything in, right? So one of the principles of excellent customer service is active listening. So active listening means that you know when to paraphrase, you know when to show and display empathy, you know when to ask the probing questions. You make sure that you're paying attention to what they're saying, how they're saying it, their nonverbal body language, right? While you're listening, you try to avoid distractions, right? While the person is speaking. Sometimes making eye contact, if it is it's a person that you're speaking to directly. Even if you're on the phone, right? And you're speaking to someone who's irate, sometimes nonverbal sounds and tones, the way they pitch their voice, the way that they sometimes may start crying, right? Because the situation might be an emergency. Whatever the situation is, active listening is the best way to be able to understand how you can help. Even if you don't have a solution right away, right? You put your person, the person that is speaking to you, at ease by giving them your undivided attention. You make sure that you do some verbal affirmations, making sure that you indicate that you're listening. Sometimes small words like yes, I understand, I get what you're saying. Things like that really helps them to understand that you're paying attention. And then doing some summarization where you can really bring things together. And summarization and paraphrasing can be hand in hand, because you summarize the problem, you basically paraphrase what the customer actually says, and then you try to offer solutions or options of solutions so that they can be able to understand what choices they have, and that gives them autonomy, right? And when they have autonomy, they're willing to open up, because it's like, okay, well, I would like to do this or I would like to do that to solve their own problems. So sometimes you don't have to solve every single problem that they have. You just need to show them the options that they have to take the steps to do so, right? And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, it's the same human beings you're dealing with, right? Everyone pays for service. They want the service that they're paying for. And if you can go above and beyond, that's what brings customer service excellence. And it improves their overall experience. So then they're willing to come back. They're willing to give you business. They're willing to make sure that they offer referrals. They're able to make sure that they are able to give proper reviews, really pour their heart into actually saying why your service, why your company, why your product is the best, right? We see it all the time. And sometimes, like when you meet a customer that they prefer to deal with a particular agent, they prefer to go to a particular department, and they want to see a specific person. That person that they want to see, or that department they prefer to go to, left an impression. So that's where active listening, showing proper empathy, making sure that you're actually using your time wisely while you're actually speaking to the person, all of this helps, right? And it's very hard sometimes to basically put all the principles into practice. But remember, you don't have to remember everything on the spot. You just need to be genuine and try to make an effort every single time you make an interaction with a person, with a customer, right? So you pay attention to body language if they're in front of you. You be patient. You try to be not to be judgmental, because sometimes a situation may be the customer's fault. Maybe they made a bad choice or they made a bad judgment, but it's not your job to judge them. It's your job to provide some sort of solution. It's your job to listen. It's your job to make sure that you're giving them the actual choices and options that you may have that they can pick from. Like I mentioned earlier, you give them the autonomy, right? And of course, you try to avoid prejudice. You make sure that you're always professional in everything that you do. So if it is that they're speaking and you don't like maybe the company that they're representing, right? Maybe you don't like the fact that they are persistent in getting a particular product or service that is probably not going to benefit them, you can have a discussion with them But you can only do so if you try to make sure that you pay attention to active listening. Because sometimes individuals give us verbal cues and nonverbal cues as to their preferences, right? Even though they're there for solution, even though they're calling for solution, even though they want the problem fixed, you can only give them the best that you have if you actively listen. And that is how all of this works, right? So remember, in everything that you do when you're trying to become a customer service expert, empathy is one of them, but active listening and practicing active listening, following the principles of active listening, making sure that you give proper eye contact, right? Or sometimes ear contact, right? Where you can actually listen to every word the actual customer is saying. Because if you're working, like for instance, in the call center industry, right? Or if it is that you're working in a situation where you have to be a dispatcher, right? Customers call you, they state what they have to, what they want. They state the type of service that they want. But if you don't actively listen, it can actually mess up a whole chain of events. Just by making sure that you're actively listening, you can prevent a lot of different issues professionally, right? And that's it, right? So there are many different ways that we can actually accumulate different skills over time. Some of them can be learned, and some of them you have to actually have some sort of experience, right? The more experience you have, the more practice you have, the easier it becomes when it comes to customer service, right? So that's all for today, right? We can visit another topic a different time, and thank you all for listening. Bye.